Welcome to Sibya I.T with Kuya JT. Kini makigsunan si JD Benz, inyong kauban diri sa atong inadlaw nga programa nga gingalan og Sibya I.T Information Technology. It is now episode 6. It is now episode 6 sa Pizza 8 sa September 2020. So it's the 8th of September 2020, birthday ni Mama Mary, and we are now on our 6th episode. Now, sa last na to nga discussion, wa mao man nakasugod taog discuss sa different types of gitawag na to memory. Atong tan-aw ang diferensya between the rapid random access memory o read-only memory. Nakasugod lang tato na tumaman. Now, by the way, remember, atong discussion is about information technology. But ang first episode na to, nag-discuss sa mga components sa usa ka computer. Ang reason na ko na is, ang computer mo good may atong aside from the cell phone, ang computer may atong interface with daily interface with information technology. So familiarizing with the hardware, og expert na mo, you don't have to listen to us anymore. So siya. Now nag-discuss sa different types of CPUs, and then we also discussed the motherboards, chipsets. Now atong discuss ang RAM, nag-discuss ta yesterday what to human. Okay, so anyway, so akong kuha ninyo karon, and I hope gilan mo sa akong background dire. This is my right hand. Okay na ba atong orientation? Huwag nabalik to the other yesterday, okay. So background, by the way, it's the photo I took of my computer, my internal sa computer. Anyway, I hope you like that. Mari kita karon sa atong discussion, balik ta sa continue ta sa memory. Okay. Ngita ta sa atong okay lahat. Right. So ang atong memory mao ang read-only memory o ang random access memory. Gamit usually sa read-only memory, kanang usa na siya ka-type sa memory storage nga ibutang din na usually mga programs or mga code or mga software instructions nga gamit nimo kanunay permanently or semi-permanently, na i-hard code siya, di siya mausap-usap. Ang random access memory dili siya mo store, murag it's just dili long storage, mo siya temporary nga storage nimo. Sa ato pa mo siya tataran sa imong kusina nga nang ibutang mga lamas, so mura na banggira, mura mo kitchen kuan table ang random access memory. Asa butang mo ang mga butang, ang atong things nga imong i-process. Okay, so ato na tong na-discuss, ato lang balikon ang random access memory, anay ROM o RAM. Okay, ang RAM kay random access memory, ROM read-only memory. Nato'y different parts sa read-only memory. Ako na na-discuss ninyo diri nga portion. Okay. Na programmable read-only memory, nasa'y erasable programmable read-only memory o electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. So again, it's supposed to be read-only memory. You cannot write. Once you burn, gitawag nag-burning ka nang kuan ka sa i-commit nimo software imong i-store sa mong kuan once you burn it. So tawag ng read-only memory because once you born it, once you put the software there or information din na mausab. But later on, mausab sa siya para bita ng rewritable nga DVD-R disk, di ba? Kini siya programmable read-only memory, erasable programmable read-only memory, electrically erasable programmable read-only memory. Sa computer, ang usual gamit niya nga na store ang BIOS or Basic Input-Output System. Unsa man ang BIOS? Ang BIOS man siya basic siya na software na mo gamiton sa computer pag startup before mo load ang iyang mga operating system. So mura ni siya og primitive or low level or kanang basic, man tawag basic yun na input output system sa computer. Na mag-connect siya, iyang i-check. For example, ang BIOS na siya gitawag og POST. Post, it's a self-test actually. So, ang ST mo na post. ST self-test. So, mo test siya og sakto. There's a software there na mo send siya signals ngadto sa mga peripherals. Tanaw niya present ba ang mouse, present ba ang hard disk, present ba ang RAM, present ba ang audio card, present ba ang network card, present ba ang Bluetooth, present ba ang Wi-Fi card, present ba yung external graphics card, pwede ba o internal graphics card, na ba, naasad ba ang monitor. So, iyan ang part niya sa self-test. It's a kind of software. It's part of the BIOS, Basic Input-Output System BIOS, na giborn in din sa read-only memory. So, di na siya mawa. It's there forever. Sa pag-web battery, naagi na siya din. Now, so that's the purpose of the ROM in the computer. Narita sa RAM. Ang RAM is the random access memory na gitawag og static RAM or SRAM, na gitawag og dynamic RAM or DRAM. Kana static RAM, marag mahugsan ni siya nga it's being used. It's difficult to explain this technically, pero ato lang kon nga it's being used nga mura bitaw siya og kanang for a particular purpose na static RAM. Ang dynamic RAM, now you can use it to manipulate variables, memory data, etc. Ang static RAM usually nana siya sa built-in as a motherboard, sa chipsets, around the chipsets. We call it the cache or cache or the cache RAMs. L1, L2, L3 for example sa static RAM. So, na yung RAM, we call it SRAM or static RAM ang motherboard. So, usually, kung mapalit kag motherboard rin ka, okay, motherboard na ko, good for an Intel CPU or an AMD CPU, pero ang question na, pila yung cache RAM? Sa una, ang mga cache RAM sa 512K, karon mga 1GB, 2GB, 3GB. So, ang cache RAM, muna siya gamiton when the motherboard, remember the motherboard is hardware, but it is also execute certain functions. So, gamiton na sa motherboard, ngadto niya para mo paspas ang iyang mga internal workings. So, gamiton na siya, static RAM. Di ka na, you don't encounter it every day. You don't even encounter it on a day-to-day basis when using a computer. Kunya ang static RAM sa it's built into the motherboard because it's part of the chipset circuits, and SRAM, static RAM, the cache RAM, di na mausap. Ana ra siya, more siya napilit na siya gisulda na siya, di na ma-change. You cannot upgrade it. O nga sa dynamic RAM, the dynamic RAM mo yung popular nga understanding sa RAM, dynamic RAM. Okay. So, mani ang dynamic RAM, there are many types of dynamic RAM. There's ubos atong i-discuss. Now, as we are discussing na, yung mga bagong kasi sa mga dynamic RAM, yan nila sa yung mga basic dynamic RAMs. So, all of these are dynamic RAMs. Remember, discuss tag ROM, read-only memory. Na-discuss tag STA. Under random access memory, one type is called the static RAM used for cache. It's called the cache RAM. in the motherboard sa chipset. Another type of random access memory is the DRAM or dynamic RAM, as against or compared or i-contrast na to sa static RAM. Static RAM, cache RAM, nas motherboard, you cannot change it. And dynamic RAM, you can upgrade it, and it's the one being used with the software and the computer to manipulate variables, run processes, memory checks, etc. Mga registers, store, recall, all of those itawag itong machine language instructions. So ang dynamic RAM, na yung mga types and uses, and it evolved over the years. So siguro mga 20 years ago, ano yung mga gitawag na itong ISO DIMM. ISO. Ano mga DIMM, dynamic memory modules. Dynamic inline memory modules. ISO RAM, sa una 72 pins pa to. Remember, we're talking about 20 years ago, 25 years ago. 72 pin, na 100 pin, na 144 pin, na 200 pin, na 204 pin. And this this ISO DIMM, you don't need to know about this anymore. I'm just relating the history nga na changes siya. Ang ganitas mga katapusan, mga DDR4, DDR5 below. Then what we call as micro DIMM, and then the laptops we call it SDRAM or DDR SDRAM, and it's called, especially for the laptop, DDR2 SDRAM or DDR3 SDRAM. Micro DIMM, tawag ng micro DIMM, 172 pins, 214 pins. Sa una ba, remember 72 pins. And then sunod kining 30 pin, okay, fast pace mode or EDO, dagan ng mga meaning mo kay single inline memory module gyapon siya, 30 pin, okay, fast pin mode or EDO. Later on it became an 72 pin SIM, again is an EDO or SDRAM. By the way, here EDO means extended data output. Then later on it became what is called as 168 pin DIMM, is again an SDRAM. As a DRAM, synchronous data RAM. It has a timing clock inside the memory card, memory circuits. Synchronous, that means to say the timing clock, synchronous na siya, the timing clock will determine the cycles for the memory, the way they're processing processing cycles sa memory. 184 DIMM, DDR SDRAM, double data rate SDRAM, and then later on we had the 240 pin it's the DDR2 SDRAM, double data rate 2 SDRAM, 240 pins already. Now remember, nag-anam ka dako ang pin, nag-anam ka dako ang power because of the development sa integrated circuit technology. They're able to mga wafer chips, mga silicon chips, gagmay kay mga circuits, we're talking about nanometers. Gagmay kasi. So they were able to compress a lot of transistors. By the way, the basic of all these integrated circuits, all these electronics, is the transistor, which I think is an alien technology. They captured it some conspiracy theory. Anyway, so the more you can compress more millions of transistors into integrated circuits, then the more you can have more power, more capacity, and then more pins because you have more outputs already. 240 pin DIMM DDR2, and then we have the 184 pin RIMM or the RAM-bus dynamic RAM, and the 232 pin RIMM RAM-bus dynamic RAM, also RDRAM. Obviously, this is probably a 10-year-old model. Nanay mga bago, tawag itong DDR3, DDR2, DDR3, DDR4, DDR5, GDDR, and nalagyan ni HDDR, no? Mga bagong memory types. Okay. So, as you can see, daghan kay mga memory types nga available. Unya, ako lang gi-mention niya history. Ikan sa 72 pin na mo nang pila ka pin, 200 pins, more than 200 pins. Unya, let's say 232 pins. It has become cheaper also, the RAM. So, ang electronics actually, every year may siguro mo pareha mag-presyo ni cellphone. Yeah, but the power has changed. Your 10,000 pesos na cellphone before, or 10,000 pesos na cellphone today, mas diferensya, mas dako ang power, no? Sa cellphone. Okay. Karon for the same price. The same price. So, mana na magkaubos yun, magkabarato. Yeah, magkaubos. Okay. So, mangita tag lain nga mga RAM types mga kaigsunan. I hope makakuha na ito nirong RAM type. Ito ni siya. Makita ninyo. Sorry. Different types na short na siya kuan nga okay, so I hope na makita niyo magkaigsunan na wait nang hindi man activated Chrome, come on. Name activate na. Okay na. Kita na siya. Yung pagkita nyo sa loyo magkaisan, I'll try to zoom it. Okay. I-zoom na po. These are the types of the DIMMs. Dual inline memory modules. Ito na siya. Zoom, hopefully, maka-zoom tayo. By the way, nagpaminaw mo sa atong episode 6 sa on the 8th of September 2020, there is a Sibya I.T with Kuya JT. Okay, so klaro na ba ninyo? Yes, it's there. Klaro na. Tumasaw na. Muna siya mga variant sa dual inline memory modules or DIMM. It supports DDR dynamic RAM, DDR2, DDR3, DDR4, and DDR5 RAM. Okay, so nasi table for example, karon DDR4 nga DIMM is 288 pin. DDR4 nga is DRAM nga DIMM. Napagitawag na itong SODIMM 260 pin. Okay, micro DIMM wala na micro DIMM. Okay. So, ang mga pins nila from 70 to 100 pins, mga klase sa mga DIMM memory modules nga na-evolve over the years. From 200 to 201 to 300 pins mo ni siya. In fact, that 288 pin DIMM module is used for DDR4 SDRAM and DDR5 SDRAM. Okay. And na po 278 pin for an HP DRAM or HDRAM, no? High density DRAM. And mga DDR, so that we have now DDR 2, 3, 4, 5, and they have different pin counts and different notch positions. Okay. As of August 2014, DDR4 is the modern emerging type of dynamic RAM, and that's in 2014, and that was 6 years ago. So remember, akong computer sa una DDR3 po taon to, akong laptop. At ngayon akong laptop dire karon is DDR3 because my laptop is about 5 years old already. So nanay mga DDR4, they're faster. So nag-cycle speed sa nila tag 3,000 Hertz or 3 megahertz. Nga na mga cycle rate ang uban nga abot na 3,600 na 4,000. So it is the higher success of Professor 2013. It's neither backward nor forward compatible with earlier types of random memory. Okay. So, muna sila yung mga kuhan karon. So, ang style ko no sa DIMMs, nani sila yung by 4 or by 8 memory chips, 9 sides, 9 chips per side. So, standard na ang gidakon sa, by the way, gidakon sa slot for the RAM. Standardized nila. So, muna yung mga speeds, mga kaigsunan. Okay, narita sa DDR4 for example na speeds. Okay, here mana siya ang DDR4 1600, it has an 800 megahertz memory clock, and the IO bus required is 800 megahertz also. Ang kinatasan is the DDR4 3200. Okay, it has memory clock of what? So double siya, double clock, 1600 megahertz, and DDR4 2666, and of course the memory clock is 13, so they've doubled the rate of the memory clock. Remember, by the way, almost all electronic components, the electrical components, electronic components, integrated circuits, almost all of them have clocks in the circuit as a way of regulating the functions. Kasagaran, wako yung tanan, kasagaran na clock. So atong cellphone na dali ra kadang kuan sa cellphone clock, automatically na may clock na ang mga circuits ana. Mo pagkapi na lang ng atong software nga na clock. Ito na form factors. So as of second quarter 2017, ASUS has had a PCIe based DIMM.2, which has a similar circuit to DRT DIMM3 and is used to put in a module to connect up to M.2 solid state drives or SSD. However, it cannot use common DDR type RAM and does not have support of other than ASUS. So, usas compatibility na kay kung na kay motherboard, unya dili upgradable ang imong motherboard sa iyang socket, the socket for the RAM. So, kung mo-increase kag memory, you have to change the motherboard apaita. So, either or ba? So, naiuban nga compatible, naiuban nga dili compatible ang upgrade sa RAM. So, mo ni tanaw nimo nga nimong RAM, imong motherboard, sorry, mas tamba, more or less modern socket man tanaw niya. Okay. So, may mga terms makaigso na. So, mag-tan-out ang mga sample sa memory card. Okay. This is this is an 8 GB DDR4 2133 ECC. ECC means error correction, 1.2 RDIMM. So this one, in this case, this is made in China. Hindi makang okay. I hope maklaro ninyo ha. Made in China, nadiri ang iyang it's a 2133P RCP-10 mo siya ang coding sa maong manufacturer, no? Manufacturer. This is 8 gigabytes. Dua ka 8 gigabytes. DDR4. Manipurma na niya. Mani kinis ubos. Mani kitawag na ito pin. Dili gina siya dagom, pero kung na siya, mura siya mga terminasi, gold biya na siya. Manang uban, kini gold plated na. So manang uban nga kinasubos bitaw niya kini. Mo na nga ang uban, kuan. Ila mamalit na sila mga electrical board circuits niya, ilang tuna, ilang pangitaon ang gold, ilang tunahon ang gold. So 8 gigabyte DDR4 2133, that's an example of RAM. Modern na to DDR4. Of course, ang kinabaguhan DDR5. Kini siya mga sockets. Kini siya SD RAM sockets. Tulo ni siya ka socket. Nagpalis ng puti to puti from left to right ng mga notch niya. May mga guides last day para di mabalik. Okay. So, manay forma sa socket. These are already in the motherboard, no? Nana siya sa motherboard. When you buy the motherboard, ang mga RAM sockets na. Okay. Balik ta sa okay. Balik ta. Okay. So, salamat sa pag-iuban niyo magkaigsunan. See you tomorrow na lang, ha? See you tomorrow. Kay limited time. Thank you. And thank you and good afternoon.